Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome once again to Gory Mansion. I'm Vincent Price.
Welcome to the laboratory of the tonepriest. Today we're going to make another Frankenstein's monster.
Quite a good scene, isn't it? One man crazy, three very sane spectators.
We're going to take this inexpensive amplifier that I have previously gutted on a past date in time, and we're going to make something cool out of it. Yeah, look at that. Nice little amplifier. It should be a little handy little thing to have around if it all works out. So, let's see what we're doing. Let's see what's on the operating table today.
It's my turn to operate. Operate? Butterfingers!
Here we are. We've got the gutted chassis out. Looking like she's ready to accept some parts. And what I thought we'd build is a clone.
Very impressive.
Or kind of clone. Not really a clone. Sort of based on or inspired by a Fender Blackface Deluxe amp. What we're going to use is Rob Robinette's design here, called an RR763V. So it's a twin push-pull twin 6V6 power tube amplifier design, highly inspired by the Fender AB763 circuit. Here's a schematic we're going to use or reference, and for posterity's sake, here is the original Fender Deluxe AB763 schematic. Take a screenshot of that, burn that into your memory. So yeah, what we need to do is take all this crap here. Take all this crap here and stuff it into here in a very specific order, and it should be awesome. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'm not sure why it would, but if it does, stick around, and you know, miracles do occasionally happen, so maybe we can get this thing to run. While we're here, let's get some Hammond transformers. Here's your little choke. Here's the output transformer, and oh my god, this thing seems like overkill for a deluxe, but overkill's not a bad thing for power transformers. Okay, here we go. Alright, so the first step in undertaking an endeavor like this, of course, is studying the schematic and understanding the circuit. So we're going to skip that.
Some people think I'm too intellectual, but I think it's a fabulous way to spend your spare time. I also play racquetball. Do you have any hobbies?
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
But the next most important thing is laying everything out, getting a plan as to where everything's going to go, making sure everything has room, and trying to avoid as many unforeseen problems as possible. And as you can see here, it looks pretty tight, but I think it'll do. This guy is obviously going to be underneath, and this guy is going to be underneath, so they won't be taking up a bunch of space. This guy, for the most part, will be underneath. That bell will be sticking up. But making sure the tubes and the board all have space to live. Get a little bias pot there. And on this design and this board, the filter caps are all on the board, so we don't have to worry about a doghouse or leave an extra space to build a little area for the filter caps. So yeah, this should work fine. So now the most fun part is drilling holes for all the tube sockets and the power transformer. And I'm going to attempt to hurry up and do this now while the tone nun is away.
Hello, boys. Nice to see you.
because this makes a shit ton of noise, and then not very pleasant noise either.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
And this is probably the most difficult part of the build. Well, one of the most difficult parts. Troubleshooting can be a bear. Ask me how I know. Anyway, wish me luck. Here we go. Well, we've got good news and we've got bad news. The good news is the type of steel this chassis is made of is not hardened or stainless or anything like that. So all the metal chips are coming out pretty much as nice curly cues. But the bad news is the previous three chassis that I worked on were hardened steel or stainless or something like that. And completely destroyed whatever step we're at here with the uni bit. And yeah, she don't want to cut any bigger. I can't get past that step. So we need to go to the store and get a new Christmas tree drill bit before we move on. But yeah, that's kind of a relief. But what we can do is cut the hole for the power transformer. So let's do that. Alright, to cut the hole for the power transformer, I placed it where I wanted it. Made some rough marks as to kind of line it up where I need it. Measured the size of the bell, because that's the size of the hole we're going to need. Scratching the hell out of this thing. And then, as you can see, I very carefully measured about 6 times, and hopefully we only need to cut once. And so what I'm going to do is, at the 4 corners, I'm going to drill pilot holes, and then probably drill maybe like 1/4 inch holes, or maybe a little bit bigger. Yeah, probably 1/4 inch holes, because the corners of the bell are rounded, and that will facilitate us cutting the square out. Okay, here's our 4 corner holes. Now we need to cut out the square, and we're going to use our heavy-duty Black & Decker tool here.
You probably wouldn't be surprised to find Black & Decker products in a place like this.
So this should go flawlessly. Okay, now that I'm completely deaf, yeah, eyes, ears, nose, throat, and torso protection recommended when you're cutting holes in metal like this. But yep, cut it out. She fits. And good thing the tone nun wasn't here, because that made a ton of racket like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, you fat penguin!
The tone pet is quite perturbed, though. Oh, speaking of the devil, look who's here. What's the matter? Did you like that noise? Okay, last and hopefully least, we're going to break the sharp edges with our generic Drill Master Dremel style tool and a sanding drum. So here we go. Okay, there's our hole. She ain't pretty, and it's certainly not the best work that I'm capable of, but she'll do. And once this sucker's all bolted down, nobody but me and you are going to know anyway, so she'll do. Time and money are a factor here. So now we just need to stick this in, make some marks for where the bolt holes are going to go, and drill the bolt holes, and then clamp her down. Bam!
Another notch!
There she be. Nice. Getting there. Amp's almost done. Alright, I just got back from the home desk spot. Had to get a new uni bit to cut these holes for the tube sockets. For the love of God, for the price I paid for this stupid thing, this better cut through steel better than a plasma cutter. My God. Anyway, could have bought a pair of Telefunken KT88s for the same price. But, gotta have it. Alright, let's use it. Well, I gotta say, it does cut a nice hole. But hopefully it lasts forever. Well, the new bit worked out really good. Did cut a nice hole. But also made quite a mess. Look at all these shavings. So that's how these are going to look. I cut a couple of 632 holes, or holes for 632 screws there. A couple of number 4s there, and get these bolted down. Moving right along, we got our tube sockets installed. And the big tubes with the octal bases have bare traps. And we have our transformers installed. All nice and in there. And we also had to cut some holes so we could run the wires from the bottom of the chassis, or the underneath of the chassis, to the inside. And we added some grommets, as you do. That's a repurposed hole, so that's why that hole is so big.
I need 2 men on this. That's what she said.
But I cut these guys right here for the output transformer. Get a little light on there. She's looking pretty good. So now I think we can flip her over and give her some attention to the inside. To the guts. So now we need to think about where this board's going to sit, and we're going to have to use some standoffs to pick it up off from the bottom of the chassis, because yeah, you don't want that touching the chassis. So we're going to use 3 standoffs, and the consideration, of course, is, you know, what everything's going to look like in its completed form, but also where we decide to cut holes for the standoffs, we have to remember that, you know, we don't want to drill a hole through one of our transformers, or even the choke. The choke's important too. So I've kind of lined things up. I think I'm going to put one here, and one here. And then that should be pretty secure. Okay, we got 3 holes for standoffs, and we got 3 standoffs. I had to double up. I didn't have 3 of these, they're like 1/2 inch or whatever. So I had to use 2 1/4 inch ones, and we'll use a nut on that one on the other side. But yeah, that should work good. Be nice and sturdy. And there you have it. All the grunt work is done. On this amplifier, our Fender Basic clone. There you go. There's a Goodyear blimp view of the work so far. I think we're going to call it a day for this video right here. I think we're at the point where we can start firing up the soldering iron, so this would be a good end to this chapter. Yeah, she's coming along good. Hopefully she lives up to my expectations. But that will be the subject of another video. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Somewhere in the human mind, my dear Francesca, is the key to our existence. My ancestors tried to find it.
Done.